Hey guys, welcome back to Real Housewives Recaps. Today, we're talking in just like that. So you guys, I love to listen to podcasts, and there's one that I listen to quite a bit. It's called, I want to say the word here, but YouTube is so weird about swearing in the first minute, so I'm just going to call it sesh. But it's the full B word and then S-E-S-H, sesh. Okay. So it's Casey Wilson from Saturday Night Live and Danielle Schneider, who was a writer on Always Sunny. And I'm actually a huge fan of the podcast. I normally really like the hosts and the guests and the subject matter and everything involved. But they put up an episode about it just like that, and they got it all wrong. So I wanted to play some. I want to react to it. I want you to hear what they're saying, and I kind of want to get your reaction too, so I think we should get into this. But first, check out my merch, link below. I got Midnight Toast, Justice for Steve. It's a load of pants. Or find me on Patreon. It's patreon.com/Real Housewives Recaps. Okay, in case you have no idea who these people are, let me just set it up for you. They are very funny. They usually do housewives type things, so that's how I got to listening and anything related to Bravo. Sometimes they'll go into documentaries and stuff, and they usually have really witty, clever takes on things, and I enjoy the banter, I enjoy their guests, all that stuff. They totally missed the mark, and just like that, and I'm shocked at how off it all is. It just, everything they say, I just found myself reacting so strongly, I just had to jump on the mic, and I just want to record this. Now, their guest on this episode is Matt McConkey. Now, you'll catch, and normally, again, I like Matt. He's funny. He's on a lot of the episodes. It's, you know, he's got funny takes on housewives and has a huge thing for Jennifer Aniston and always talks about her. So there's some funny parts, but you guys, he has this podcast called Homophilia, and he apparently had Michael Patrick King on. So I just want you to hear how hard they are drinking the Kool-Aid. So let's get into this. And if you've never watched one of these before with me, basically because it's their show, I want you to, if you want to hear it uninterrupted, go over, listen to their show. This one's mine, so I'm going to play little clips, and then I'm going to pause and react to it because that's how this works. So let's get into it.
And just like that, and just like that. Hi, Danielle.
Hi, Casey Rose.
Wow.
We will be talking about something that we feel like we've been remiss on.
We have, because we've touched on it, but it is a cultural phenomena, a lightning rod.
Okay, I skipped a few minutes because they're just introducing the show, but here is the part where they introduce their guest, Matt McConkey, who talks about And Just Like That.
He's got so much to say about And Just Like That.
Because I am a Sex and the City lover. I've been watching since the beginning, in fact, and I do, and I don't know that I felt I could share them.
Yeah, and I don't know that you still can, to be honest. And June and I have had to tell people regularly, this is not a safe space.
And me. Yeah.
This is not a safe space.
Because why, Matt? Why don't you tell everyone why we're not safe here?
Because look, we're drowning in takes about this show more than ever. Michael told me this morning it is the most watched show on HBO Max.
So that's the first time I've heard that. It's the most watched show on HBO Max. What are your thoughts on this? Do you believe it? Do you think MPK is full of shit? Do we think he's telling the truth? I actually do believe it, only because what else is on HBO Max right now? And we're all watching, right, in horror. So it's getting the views. I believe that, and you know what? I'm going to go ahead and say it. I hope for a season 2 because I love this community and I'm ready to keep going.
So
I love that.
Wow.
I love that.
As it should be.
As Michael Patrick King says in your show, Matt, it's great to be talked about.
Oh, you don't have to worry about that. We were definitely talking about Michael Patrick King.
End of the damn day, you know?
Exactly.
Better or worse.
And it's harder to be talked about now than it was when the show was on the first time.
Yes. Oh, yeah. Because then there was there was that and the Little Rascals. There was nothing else on TV.
It's hard to break through these days. Hard to break through.
But again, why are we breaking through? It's because it's the worst writing I've ever seen on any show in the history of the world.
It is.
Yeah.
And I'm in a place where, and I said this to my now dear friend, Michael Patrick King.
Nope. Got to stay away from Captain Thrust. And if you don't know what I'm talking about with that, well, go back and listen to the Writer's Room podcast.
Where
Yes.
I acknowledge it might just be the high, the rush of just like getting to be with our friends every week. It is such a high that we're all riding. But like in this moment, I can tell you honestly, I love And Just Like That more than Sex in the City.
Shut the F up. No, you do not. Nobody loves It Just Like That more than Sex in the City. Oh my gosh. This is literally the first person I've ever heard say that. What is there to love about this horribly depressing show besides this group?
And in this moment, it's almost as if the screen is frozen, but I know it's not. Your faces. Oh, your faces. I wish we could see your faces.
And I respect you for being able to say that. I respect the hell out of you.
Yeah, I definitely don't, and I actually judge him for saying that.
I just like the first episode back when Samantha wasn't there.
I've had a lot of time to reflect about the Samantha of it all. I love Samantha in the series. I've always loved Samantha. I think she just adds a comedic element, and I just found her very endearing. But I tell you what, watching these And Just Like That without her makes me realize she's the entire show. I didn't realize it before. I see it now. And I say good for Samantha for being the smart one.
And then
spoilers abound.
I think it was in the second episode. Spoilers, guys. Big dies. When she had delivered the flowers, I was hysterical crying. And I realized because I am truly mourning Samantha.
Yeah, sure.
I actually feel that way too. I don't want to sound like a loser, but I get sad about it. I do. I miss Samantha. And especially now they give us this shit show, while I'm glad for the actress for moving on, I selfishly would like Samantha on my screen.
I am mourning Samantha. Not that I am not loving the addition of these wonderful other girls. I'm really into a lot of the new characters. I am enjoying them.
That's a big fat nope for me.
Enjoying their lives, their presence, what they bring to the show. But I am mourning Samantha. Are you not feeling that?
Have you moved on, Matt?
If the answer is yes, this is going to tell me everything I need to know about this guy. Don't say yes.
From Sam?
And, it's everyone is asking me, do I miss her? Of course, in the beginning, it was hard to accept that when I knew the show was coming without her, it was hard to accept. But now that I'm watching, do I miss her? It's like, not really.
Oh, there you go. I guess that's everything I need to know about this guy. How can you not miss Samantha? Where is the light and the fun and the sex and all of it? We got nothing with this reboot.
To quote Luann, not really.
Not really. It's kind of like when Nene left in a way where it's like, how could this huge presence that has come to define the show in many ways and kind of be the like, I do think SJP, of course, we all know how we feel about Carrie. She holds down the show, but
wait, how are we going to say that and just skim over that? I don't think Carrie holds down the show. There was a time where I thought that watching the original series, but thinking back, I'm realizing it wasn't Carrie. It was collective.
Sam was kind of like the fan favorite. I mean, there's no other way to put it, right?
Abso-fucking-lutely.
Yeah.
And then to lose her is such an absence, and yet Atlanta did march on, didn't it?
Yeah, and
it did. And guys, know that I am watching Sex and the City the minute it hits the airwaves.
So am I. I'm watching it during the day. I know I, again, for a living, cover trash television, but I don't watch our housewives during the day. I'll wait at night when I'm cozied in and like on pills, but I watch.
So are we just going to breeze right over that one? What? It sounds like Carrie after her hip surgery.
When I see it come up, it's like 11 a.m. I'm popping it on.
Oh, same.
And I'm doing a mix of a love watch and a hate watch, which, I'm on this chain and then just like that chain with you and June, Matt, and you guys have had to reprimand me because
a couple times
you guys asked that this be a safe space in that you just didn't want to hear one bit of criticism, like not an ounce, nothing.
No.
Ha, so it's like the writer's room where you can't be told you're wrong. I gotcha.
No, and I know that yours is coming from a place of love. Yeah, there's just not too much room for it. There's just, the discourse has gotten so deafening, especially around, I'll tell you what I never want to talk about again is Che Diaz.
Well, tell your asshole buddy, Michael Patrick King, that because he is the one that won't stop shoving Che Diaz in our faces.
There's nothing new. There's nothing new to say
really?
About Che that hasn't
nothing
been
new
said.
under the sun.
No, again, Sarah Ramirez, their a fantastic actor. Like, incredible.
Absolutely.
But here's my problem, which you don't want to know, but like, I don't have a problem with Che Diaz. I have a problem in general, and I think it's a really hard thing to do on television, is to present a stand-up.
I think it worked on your
If that's the case, maybe as a writer, you come up with a better storyline. Why does Che have to be a stand-up comedian? Maybe turn them into something else. I don't know. It was too much forced Che's the comedian, and we didn't come up with the storyline, they did. So why are you making it our problem that we're thinking it's stupid?
show, Danielle, Hacks.
Very much so.
Yes.
Because Hacks was about a great stand-up, and that was represented properly. Che isn't funny, and that's okay.
That's the problem, because then they cut to the audience at the Pride Week and stuff, and it's like they're all laughing as if a joke has been told, and I'm like,
okay, how many comedians do we know in our lives who have big followings, Netflix specials, popular podcasts, who simply aren't funny?
These people have very weird lives, no? If there's somebody that's not funny, I don't watch them, or I move on or whatever, but this is not what this is. They're taking a show that we've loved for so long, shoving this character in there, telling us that they're funny, and then getting mad when we disagree. So I just think I think this guy speaking is oversimplifying things, saying basically it's our problem that we think Che's not funny. No, Che was not written funny.
Okay. This is a hot take, Matt.
There are plenty. It's simply a realistic depiction to me.
I disagree.
Matt.
All my friends,
Matt.
my friends with Netflix specials are very fucking funny.
So clearly he is cut from the same cloth as MPK, and that if we disagree, we're the ones who are wrong. They did nothing wrong, right?
I'm sorry, Matt, I gotta go back. So you're saying what you feel to be revolutionary about Che Diaz is that they're not a good stand-up? And that feels very right to you, and that feels like fresh?
Okay, now he's talking out of his ass. There's no way anybody in that writing room is clever enough to write for something like that. That's not what's happening. It's that they don't know how to write a stand-up, so it comes across that Che Diaz is the worst stand-up of all time.
I can't go on record saying that I believe that to be the writer's intentions. I'm not clear about. I also listen. People should check out their Writer's Room podcast, which is excellent.
So that tells me everything I need to know right there. The Writer's Room podcast is the worst. It's maybe one of the worst things I've ever heard. It's actually close, almost a tie with watching the show itself. When you listen to them kiss each other's asses the way they do, and totally ignore the criticisms that they get and just sycophantically laugh at each other. It just gives you an ick feeling, kind of like the show does.
Wherever your podcast is just called And Just Like That, the Writer's Room. And they do really answer a lot of questions. I don't think I've ever heard them say specifically, we wanted Che to not be a funny comedian. But what I am saying,
but maybe that was just they hadn't gotten there yet. They haven't gotten there yet.
Maybe that's going to be the finale.
But you're thinking
reveal.
It's working for you, big time.
It's working for me.
I'm just saying it makes.
Read the room, Matt. Read the room.
Yeah. Same with I love The Marvelous Mrs. Maisel. That's another one of a show I just love. I get caught in a fantasy.
I love that show too, and I don't know where she's going with this because I haven't listened to this episode, but I like where she's going because they write that comedian so well, and even when she does things that are unlikable, you still root for her, and you want her to succeed, and you see how funny she is, and she's written so funny. I totally agree. Look at Miss Maisel if you need to see a good comedian.
Fashion, the Jewishness, even though I don't think there's an actual Jew on the show, but that's not for today. But I love the vibe of the show. But when I watch the stand-up scenes, I do get uncomfortable sometimes.
Oh, okay. Took a different turn than I thought. I actually don't get uncomfortable. I find her very funny, and I think her stand-up is really well done. I find myself laughing along with it. So I thought she was citing that as an example of really funny stand-up shown on television.
And it's tough to watch it, but how I contain myself is I'm like, well, this is the 1950s. So,
But I do want to just get back to why I love this show.
Okay, what kind of spell did MPK cast on these people? I don't understand what's happening. This is not where I thought this was going to go.
More than most things in my life. And in this moment, again, I love it more than Sex and the City.
I just can't think of a weirder sentence than the one he just said. I can't. That's just wild to me. And if you haven't listened to these people before, I promise they're normally really funny. They, like I say, they do Bravo shows and pop culture things, and they usually have funny takes on it. I'm kind of blown away by this. And it's literally the first time I'm hearing somebody stand up for the show and actually say that they love it. I'm kind of shocked.
Almost.
We heard you.
I almost love it more. I can't even say it. I almost said it.
Say it.
Just for effect, I was going to say I love it more than Jen, but who am I kidding?
But
You bastard. No, he's not talking about me. No, no, he's a huge Jen Aniston fan, so he talks about her anytime he's on this show. I know. Why didn't I realize this before, that this is where this was going to go?
But
what?
But you are feeling these feelings, Matt. This is incredibly real, and that's why we brought you on here.
Very real. I'll tell you this. I didn't watch season 2 of the morning show the day that every episode dropped the way I am with this one. But here's the thing.
That's big, Matt.
So this dude's obsessed with it, but we're doing the same thing. We're just doing it for completely opposite reasons. It's like I can't wait to see what horrible things they're going to throw at us next. Let's see how depressing everything can get, how poorly written everything is, and how awful they're going to treat the characters.
The level of the depth of the friendships are so moving. And
That is true in the original series, but you show me where it is in this, and just like that. I'll wait.
And you just, you're not going to get that when you're younger and you're running around New York and you're.
Okay, so he completely missed the point. We did get that in the original series. We got that they were great friends, and we got to see. I mean, we saw shallow moments, but we also saw depth to them as well, and the depth of their friendship. And, you know, when Samantha went through her illness, I'm trying to think of all this. You know, Miranda lost her mother. They're all there for each other. They're always there for each other, right? When Charlotte was going through her divorce with Trey, they're there for each other. Where are they now? They don't. It's just not. It's not cohesive stories. It's not. Carrie's an asshole. Miranda's an asshole. Charlotte, I don't know what's going on with her. It's just, I just don't understand what show he's watching.
Walking through, you know, relationships and breakups and having kids in the early years and stuff together. Like when you're older and you're 20 and 30 years into these friendships, then you're walking through death together.
Oh God, he should be a writer for this show.
Literal death. And, you know, the metaphorical death of the Samanthas.
And divorce and, you know, the breakup of marriages and the changes in relationship and people. And I will say I do think that they have handled death beautifully.
I will say you guys are wrong on this point too. It's Carrie's fault that Big had to die. I mean, they just had a staring contest instead of her calling for help.
I think that is a hard thing to handle, and they haven't swept over it. You know what I mean? The way a lot of shows do.
But
nope, the parts that they're dragging out the death stuff, and what they're sweeping over is any joy or happiness that we used to get in the old series.
I want them to sweep over it, and here's why. I like to watch Sarah Jessica Parker as I want my Carrie light on her feet.
Yes, finally, somebody's saying it. That's exactly how I want her to.
Instead, I've got her like in a dress that's swallowing or eating Cheez-Its in the windowsill. Like,
yep, that's exactly what I've been saying too. Looks like an Olsen twin, and it was popcorn in the windowsill.
I want to see her fun, not just like, you know, kind of downtrodden Carrie. And I just wish, and I know we wouldn't really buy it, and I probably would, and Michael says this on your podcast, Matt, but like, I probably would be annoyed too if in like one episode she was like getting rammed.
I get what she's saying, but these are not our only options. How come we couldn't see her and Big be happy and be together finally? They spent the entire series playing cat and mouse. They could finally settle down and settle in, or whatever. We could see what their happy life looks like, or even their not happy life looks like.
But like, at the same time, where is the sex? And I know this isn't just like but give me some sex, give me some lightness. John Tenney, where art thou? You used to be so gorgeous and hot.
Exactly. Where did all that go?
What am I to believe? What am I to believe about her new love pair? Am I to say wow? Am I to say no? I don't know what they want me to feel.
I think that's exactly what we've all been saying. I can't figure out where the writers are coming from, what they're wanting us to see or feel about all of this. So I agree with her there.
We have seen 2 dicks in
That's
one
right.
episode, which was a pleasure. Speaking of, Harry is I feel, very well endowed.
Big dick Harry.
That
yeah.
was a prosthetic. I don't want
Do we know
to do
for
that
sure?
for sure.
And that was a choice that the writers made, which I agree with, which is that they think Harry would be very well endowed.
Absolutely.
Well endowed.
Which is not
Yes, Kristen Davis went on Andy Cohen's show and said that it was prosthetic.
to say the actor's not. Who knows?
And I was like, is this a Charlotte choice or is this a writer's choice? I'm curious what you think. When Miranda in last week's episode said, I'm getting a divorce, like I'm asking Steve for a divorce, I'm going to tell him everything. They were all kind of like, oh my God, Charlotte had that thing. And then she went right into the thing about like the blowjob thing. And I was like, but the divorce is on the table.
See, they're proving our point. They're not good friends. They're not good friends to each other. They just gloss over somebody saying, hey, I'm leaving my husband that I've been with for a very long time, or regardless, I'm leaving my husband. As a friend, you're like, oh my God, tell me everything. What's going on? Are you okay? That sort of thing. But no, they just gloss over and go to blowjobs.
Like,
Yeah.
we have, like, that felt like, I didn't know. I was just like, but if it were my friends, we would be like, but wait, okay, we'll get back to the blowjob, but you're going to have a divorce? Like, this feels like a huge moment for Miranda. Why aren't we?
And for the flip of that, Danielle, what got me is in the scene at the picnic when Cynthia Nixon is saying, I'm unhappy with my, kind of
Oh.
catching Charlotte up to speed. The acting is unparalleled. I'm not
Beautiful
even
scene.
touching that. Cynthia Nixon deserves an Emmy for this season, for
she's
sure.
so good.
Oh, you can fuck right off with that noise. There is no way. She's a terrible actress. Listen to how her lines have been delivered, screaming into the camera. No.
Do I want to see her get fingered again? No.
No.
But what I will say is this. I didn't understand why Carrie's being so mean to Miranda.
Again, this is everything I've been saying. So that Matt guy was just saying, oh, they're such better friends in this show than they were in the first one. No, they're being horrible to each other.
I mean, I know she had sex while she was like rolling around in her urine, but
But it's also her boss. I think there was also like, you're fucking my boss.
she just felt so mean. I'm like, your friend.
But you're also in your friend's kitchen where your friend can see you. So it's ick.
Is like clearly struggling and trying to find their footing. I don't know. I don't like the colors I'm forced to see on Carrie.
Yes, I understand that.
I didn't mind
She
that.
did soften. Carrie did soften after she understood remember Miranda yelling at her, I'm not happy.
So that part of it, I did get a lot of comments on. A lot of you thought she did a great job in that scene. And you know what? I'll give it to you. You're right. She did. I just think overall her acting in this show has been terrible. The character is awful to watch. So it's hard for me. It's hard for me to see anything but a terrible person. But I do agree. I mean, I don't agree with this guy saying, but I agree with you guys in the comments saying that you thought she acted that scene very well.
Yeah, that
was beautiful. It was incredible.
Oh, wow.
There is a monologue in this that's truly one of the most beautiful monologues performed I've ever seen on TV. And it was Cynthia Nixon's monologue at the foot of the bed when she said, I'm unhappy. She's incredible.
But what about the I'm in a rom-com Carrie of it all? And the episode 9 shouting in the stairwell. It was horrible.
She's incredible. And I hear you. I mean, I think that I've appreciated the moments of lightness we've got. I think that
Anybody know what he's talking about here? Can you think of a moment of lightness? Tell me it's not the Charlotte tampon story.
more moments of lightness were coming. But another thing in the discourse here is that everyone is like, the show's too sad. I want to be drinking Cosmos. But it's like,
yeah, that's exactly what we want to be doing.
these are sad times, babe.
Which is exactly why we don't need to see it on our TV, you pompous ass.
Like,
Okay, I hear you. I hear you.
Oh God, I feel like I'm back in Michael Patrick King's writer's room.
Okay, that felt very pointed.
not at all.
If I can jump back to what I said about Miranda getting fingered, here's where I'm at with it. It's more just that, well, what David refers to as her finger in sweats.
Ew, oh God, make it stop, I'm gonna barf.
You know, she's in a pair of sweats
Oh, we all know they love to flash back to that scene.
and getting fingered left, right, and center in them. And I'm just, where the straw broke the camel's back for me was the scene with her and Steve in the kitchen. That was hard.
That was hard, but
watch.
It was hard for her to live through. I mean, they wanted it to be hard.
Wow.
But herein lies the crux of the issue. On one hand, we're saying, where's the sex? And on the other hand, here's the sex, and we're saying we don't want it.
And you're right, Matt. And Michael Patrick King mentions this too, which is like, I do think it's become, it truly, I sound like a terrible critic, but like, it's like a lightning rod in that I think in terms of aging, some of the things I'm bumping up against, I'm realizing like, oh, those are my issues with things, I think. Or maybe I don't want to see that. Like, it's definitely hitting a nerve to where I'm like saying like, we're all, I think, adjusting to the thing of like, oh yeah, these gals were 30 years younger. I think they look so beautiful now, 1,000,000% so beautiful. But it's like, oh wow, we are like, it's so interesting what they've done. They've actually titled this a different show. When I really think about it,
That's all well and good, but they've still used the story, the characters that we've all grown accustomed to. So of course we're going to lump it all in together. How can we not? It's not a different show. It's the same show. It's just different topics.
Coming around to you, Matt. It isn't Sex and the City, is it? It's Just Like That.
And I hate it. Also, I did love how her voice got when she said, and just like that, like it was through gritted teeth. You guys, I'm going to go ahead and end it here. I've heard about as much bullshit as I can hear. Oh, God. There's just no... There must be something about Michael Patrick King where he rubs off on people. Ew, that's gross, coming off the Brady stuff that he writes. But anyway, okay, he rubs off on people where they convince themselves they love his stuff. I don't know. I really don't know. I don't get it. But definitely this guy on this podcast is drinking the Kool-Aid. And yeah, okay. I think that's it for me. Thank you guys so much for watching. I really appreciate it. I hope you've enjoyed this episode. If you have any other suggestions like this that you want me to watch or react to, please leave them in the comments. Have a wonderful day. Take care. Bye-bye.